The roll cast is a great cast to use when there are obstacles behind you and you don't have lots of space. It's also a very effective cast to use when fishing on rivers with a sunk line, but not good for changing the direction of your cast. Body position is important. Stand comfortably facing your target. Place your lead hand as far up the rod as comfortably possible and wrap your palm around it. Tuck the free line from the reel underneath your first finger. Your lower hand is your supporting hand. The rod tip should be positioned at the start point just above the surface of the water. When casting, we often refer to a clock face. Directly above you is 12 o'clock, below is 6 o'clock, in front is 9 o'clock and behind is 3 o'clock. As with all casting techniques, you may need to adapt to the conditions in which you're fishing. To begin with, you want to keep the rod tip above the water's surface. This is your start point. From there, lift the rod up using your arm so the rod tip points directly upwards towards 1 o'clock. Your forearm is doing the work here. Your second arm is supporting, lifting the rod from the water's surface to the sky while comfortably tucked into your body. From this position, imagine directly in front of you there's a nail in a door which you're going to tap in. So with one motion, you're going to push forward with the top hand and pull towards you slightly with the bottom hand, stopping at around 10 o'clock before slowly lowering the rod, stopping above the water's surface. If done correctly, the line will land gently and smoothly on the water's surface and relatively straight. Depending on conditions, it's vital to aim your rod tip at 1 o'clock. This allows for the line to create what's called a D-loop, as the line drags across the water and you prepare to cast it out. The hammer tap gives the line the energy it needs to propel out onto the water. Take the rod tip from 1 o'clock to 10 o'clock in one progressive motion using your top hand and a little bit of the lower hand. Learning to roll cast is vitally important to master, as all spey casts effectively finish with you delivering the same stroke as you would with a roll cast. The spey cast is a roll cast that includes a change of direction. It allows you to make long casts when there are obstacles behind you and you don't have lots of space. Safety is paramount depending on the conditions you're fishing in. We'll start by looking at a single spey cast, which is a great cast if you are faced with an upstream wind. Body position is important. Stand comfortably facing your target. Place your lead hand as far up the rod as comfortably possible and wrap your palm around it. Tuck the free line from the reel underneath your first finger. Your lower hand is your supporting hand. The rod tip should be positioned at the start point just above the surface of the water. Lift the rod to 10 o'clock with the rod pointing downstream. This will help to clear the line from the water and make repositioning it much easier. Swivel the rod round to your right hand side, keeping the rod level the entire time. This will take the line out of the water and relocate it on the upstream side. As soon as the line touches down on the water in line with your target and on the upstream side, push the rod forward in the hammer tap. As you keep the rod at the same height as you swivel it round to the right at the correct speed, the line lands at your right hand side. Just as it's landing, press the rod forward into the hammer tap and cast it out. With a single spey cast, the objective is to lift, manoeuvre and reposition the line upstream of you and in a direct line with your chosen target. With an upstream wind, this cast will allow you to safely position the line before you deliver the cast. The forward stroke should be smooth and stop high. Remember, as with all casts, to form a tight loop, the rod must move in a straight path. With the rod pointing downstream, lift the rod to 10 o'clock, clearing the line from the water, and lay it slightly upstream of you. The fly should land on your downstream side. Sweep the rod back downstream, ripping the line from the water and form a D-loop downstream before delivering your forward stroke towards your target. This is the ideal cast to use if you are faced with a downstream wind. snap T-cast is a very simple cast. It's an alternative to a single spey and is ideal for an upstream wind. It works very well on all lines and is particularly good with both Scandi and Skagit lines. Firstly, set up by facing your target. Allow the rod to settle pointing downstream of you, close to the water. Raise the rod straight up to around the 10 o'clock point to help clear the line from the grip of the surface tension. Move the rod tip out to the side of you before using an oval motion with the rod low towards the water, taking it back to the position you started in. From there, sweep the rod upstream of you in a similar way to the single spey, ripping the line off the water before repositioning upstream and in line with your chosen target. Then deliver the cast. Your lead hand will depend on which bank you're fishing from. Right hand uppermost from the right and left hand uppermost from the left. As with all spey casts, set up facing your target. Start with the rod tip low to the water on the dangle. Raise the rod to help to clear the line from the water before scribing a circle with the rod tip, rotating the tip once in the direction that the cast is going to be delivered and finishing at 10 o'clock. Clockwise rotation when casting from the left hand bank and anti-clockwise rotation when casting from the right hand bank. This will reposition the line to the downstream side of you, creating you a D and an anchor, allowing to complete your delivery stroke towards your chosen target. Improving your casting takes practice and time. The more you practice, the better you'll get. One day it will all come so naturally that you won't even have to really think about it. Learning to cast is frustrating at first, but keep trying and you will get better. One of the best investments you can make in your fly fishing journey is a professional lesson, which can save many frustrating hours on the bank.